Man, this thing, man.
We live.
Yeah, I think we are, man. We're at the roll. I just wanted to welcome you in, Rad Moby. Hey, welcome to the show, man. I want to just welcome you guys to coming in more after the game. Part of that Lions Nation, trying to bring everybody in to make it all happen. But I just want to um, get started, man. Just one, give you both an opportunity to introduce yourselves and let people know where they can find you. Go ahead, Moby.
Go ahead, Moby.
It's Mobby. I appreciate you, gentlemen.
Oh, Mobby, man.
Good to
Mobby.
Mobby. Good to be on here today. Everybody know y'all can reach me at all things. There Goes Mobby. I'm over there on Lions Cam. And find me on Twitter at Lions Cam. There Goes Mobby. You know, everything There Goes Mobby, you know.
Hey, I can dig it. Hey, y'all can catch me over at Last Second Sports. Also on Dose of Dion 2.0 channel on Mondays and Thursdays. And there's my Twitter handle, my LNU handle. And yeah, appreciate the invite.
I I'll tell you what, I know we had talked a few times, Rad, you and I, we talked about really a lot with this Lions team. And I know Mobby, man, he's pretty expressive on how he feels about it, and I always appreciate his candor, man, and just his realness. And I think that's what the audience has come to love about what we do. So let's jump in, man. Let's talk about this last game with Pittsburgh. A lot of people looking at this tie and saying a tie is just as bad as a loss. I want to get you guys give me your thought on
that. At least we're not gonna make history, so we can't go 0-17. So I'm cool. I'm cool with that. But yeah, I mean, nobody wants to tie. That's like getting a participation award, I feel like. And as many chances we had to close out the game, it was very, Gofful, disappointing. I think the defense played well. They played well enough for us to win. It's just that offense. It goes with that play calling, Jared Goff's play. The run game was their offensive line did well. It was good to get Taylor Decker back. He did have a couple key penalties that, cost us some drives. Also, TJ Hawkinson, I feel like he needs to step up his game. I know he wasn't getting his number called a lot far as in the pass game, but even on some of the run blocks, he was missing a few of those. And then he also had a couple penalties that cost us some huge yardage. Swift ran well for the most part. He had I was rewatching the game. He had a play at the end of the first. It was on the 3rd and 10. They ran a power to the left out of shotgun. If he'd have followed Sewell around that block, around that corner, that possibly could have been a touchdown. But for some reason, he wants to cut it back on a power. Like, you should be following your offensive line, bro. And they did a great job on the blocking right there on that play. But his vision was a little off on that. But for the most part, Swift played a pretty nice game. He had a couple drops. Now, Jared Goff, I think we all should be feeling how we feel about it. Jared Goff it's time to replace the guy. Like, I don't feel like we got Boyle and Blau. We could go pick up Bortles. Bortles just got cut from Green Bay. I'd rather have Bortles than Jared Goff at this point. And I'm trying to stand behind our quarterback, but it's getting real frustrating, man. He's nervous in the pocket. He can't make all the NFL throws. It's like he got outperformed by Mason Rudolph, who's a backup quarterback. And it's kind of looking like Jared Goff should be a backup quarterback at this point. And I'm trying to stay behind him, but it's getting real hard. But all in all, it was a disappointing game to me, even though we got the tie. I'm not happy with it, but I'll take it.
What you got for me, Mobby?
I pretty much have came to the conclusion that this team was 99.9% surely going to go winless this year. So getting a tie and just the fact that I don't have to hear about being the first 0-17 team. That's why I celebrated, honestly. I don't know if anybody's seen my video or not. But I was just happy as heck that we wouldn't have to sit through that again, make that history. We can still make history by going 0-16 twice. But I don't know, man. Sometimes this team really seems like they can win one, and then other times they just don't. But I don't think it's gonna happen. So I'm cool with it as long as I ain't got to see 0-17 at the end of the year. And if they can get one more tie and we ain't got to go 0-16, I'll be happy about that too.
I heard that.
So let me ask you this. So I know we're gonna pick it apart a little bit because here's what's interesting. I want to pick apart this game, and the reason why I want to pick apart this game, there was a lot of dynamics at play. We got Taylor Decker. I know we talked about him coming back. We talked about. I know he's been lashing out a little bit, so we're gonna touch on that in a little bit. He talked about his hand and that we don't understand. The people outside of it don't understand why he's been out, and that is a little bit more complex than what it's been. And they're questioning his toughness. We know that Coach Dan Campbell was calling some of the plays. What kind of message does that send with offensive coordinator Lynn? Jared Goff talked about he thought that Coach Campbell did a great job, and he said it was refreshing to a certain degree. If you listen to his interview about him calling the play calls, that was another piece. Then we want to talk about the running game, which seemed like it was giving them some source of fire that they abandoned. They went to the passing game, some of these third down plays. Just really the whole sense of this team, defense versus the offense. I want to talk about just really the special teams piece too, man, that the return game is one end, but then we got to look at the kicking game. And I'm like most people, I thought the ball got blocked, but it didn't. And then you had the missed extra point. But there's just so many things here that we have to unpack about this team and about really where does it get fixed and how does it get fixed. We can talk about Jared Goff. So what I want to do is we're going to be surgeons. I know y'all, we're going to put on our robes, we're going to be surgeons today. And I want us to kind of just break them down a little bit and just see, go, no go. And then also just I don't know if you got any game balls. You know what? Before we even get going, let's say this. Let me just say, Mobby, like, man, Rad, like, I don't know about no game balls, but listen, I want to just invite and welcome everybody in that's coming in and joining the show more after the game. We got Moby, we got Rad, we're here, and we got Moby here, Moby here, Mobby,
like Bobby with an M.
Hey, I got it, Mobby. Listen, here's what we're
Bobby
call
with an M, y'all.
It's Mobby. Listen, and the thing is, you gonna have to excuse me. He gonna give me that first run on the first take. Believe it, man. When I came here, I was called Herman Miller. So there you go. So I was the furniture seller.
No, I start off
good. No disrespect.
With everybody. It's Moby Dick. It's that book. It's that book.
It's all good, brother. No disrespect, and I appreciate that. But listen, I want to tell everybody they can join us. Go check out LionsNationUnite.com. And if you like what we're doing here, please give us a like and subscribe to our channel. And we're gonna keep trying to pump out some content, but we're gonna go down the thing. I want us to look at this. If you could give out a game ball, you giving out any game balls? Yes or no? And if you are, to whom?
Easy. I would give it to Swift. It's like what, the fifth time this year where Swift was 95% of our offense. Yep. Whether he has to get it done in between the tackles, outside the tackles, or as a pass catcher, it's just time after time again. I'm saying is no matter what the circumstances is, Swift is always the guy that's going to make a play one way or another. So if I had to give it to anybody, it's going to be Swifty. But I will say, Will Harris is a dude I give a lot of flack to. I have never seen Will Harris make a play a day in my life. That forced fumble at the end of the game by Will Harris, number 25. I don't know. He might need some honorary game ball.
He just lowered his helmet, man. His helmet just happened to be in the right place.
Right, I'm not.
I bet everything on my life that's his first career turnover, forced fumble, big hit, anything, and it was right on time, man.
Okay,
it was right on time.
I'm a piggyback off Mobby. It's mixed Swift though. He had $130 on the ground. He continues to step up for us, and I think he finally showed that he can carry the load because dang, every running back went down. We didn't come in with no Williams, and he stepped up huge for us. So I would give it to him. Fox is always gonna get a game ball for me. He continued to flip the field all the time for me. Like he's all pro punter right there. Fox, he's getting one. Defensively, I ain't got to see the all-22 film, but Tracy Walker, he was showing up on film. He had a big hit. I wish he would have coughed it up. I like Tracy Walker's play this year, so I'm gonna give one to him just for, even though he ended up getting injured. I like how he was showing up on film.
Yeah, well,
But
I'll tell you what. So I gave mine to Swift too. I mean, I won't say that was the obvious because it was the obvious, but because this is a dude, man. In my opinion, he's been playing well all year. He's been running hard.
Yep.
The man has been showing up. Now he can't do what he can't do if they're not giving him the ball. And when you look at just his output and just the way he approaches it, man, I look at him and I just like just the fact that he is that leader by example, even though he's not trying to be that. But when he's in there, you feel like when you hand him the ball, he's running hard. You feel like when you throw it to him out of the backfield, yeah, he had the one way he looked away and he didn't catch it or whatever. But, man, you know what? This is a guy that in the passing game and the running game, even in blocking, seems like he shows up, man, and he tries to give it his all. And if you could get that across the board, I think it elevates players to be a little bit better than what they think they are right now. They're not the greatest team, obviously, in terms of depth, but this is a guy, man, I watch every week, and it never just ceases to amaze me just how hard he runs, how hard he plays, and he does it that way. And then, like you said, with Fox, man, I mean, for us to always be looking at the punter, man, come on, punter, you got to bail us out. I mean,
he does it.
Is that where we are? Is that where it's at?
You got to get some type of wins, and he continues to punt very well week in and week out. So Fox is getting a game ball.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this, Rad. So you've coined the term golfer.
He's terrible. I mean,
it definitely seems like the fans want to switch at quarterback. I know Mobby has said that. He's saying, listen, you know, we've had a lot of other people on here that at this point, there's no more excuses to be made. I mean, that term, man, is going to take off. I know somebody asked me the other day, because we are a print company, just like I got on this swag and this shirt here. You know, should we start making up these different shirts? Now, I'm going to have to go ask the nation if we need to start making up these different type shirts. But, you know, we'll do whatever the nation wills, and that's what we're going to do. But, you know, give me your deep take. I know you say golf. I mean, when you say that, I went through and I looked at his stats. And he's got 8 touchdowns. He's got, I think it was 6 interceptions or something like that. It's a far cry. He's in the 80% on his rating. This is really not what this team thought they were going to get. Early on, it looked like there may be something after San Francisco game that, you know, we could build from. But right now, man, it just seems like it's just going downhill. And I wanted to get you two to kind of give me your take just on golf.
Goff, I think he's a average, below average quarterback. He has to have like a perfect storm in order for him to operate. O-line got to be blocking well. He's got to have a good run game that's going to open up the passing game, because his arm's not going – it's not no Stafford where he can improvise and just, you know, thread the needle and things like that. Everything has to be on point for him to like shine. Right now, he's looking real nervous in the pocket. His mental clock is just going super fast right now. He has no pocket presence. He's spinning to a sack yesterday. Like, come on, man.
Spins to a sack every week.
Every week. I don't feel like he can make every NFL throw. He continues to miss the 5-yard out. Like, I feel like that's a high school throw you should be able to make. Deep ball's not looking good. I get that he ain't got no big-time receivers around him. All his receivers are 5'10" or shorter, so he can't really even throw up a 50-50 ball. We're going to see what Josh Reynolds can do if he can ignite the offense a little bit. I think and he needs to be replaced. And I feel like they're not really holding him accountable, because if anybody else in the league on any other team is playing this bad, he is getting replaced. He has 8 touchdowns and 6 interceptions. I can't even think of how many fumbles off the top of my head.
No, 7.
Thank you. I appreciate that. He had 114 passing yards. I can't even call him the check down king, because he's not even completing the check downs at this point. I think he's terrible. I'm just going to say it. I'm through like trying to ride with the QB. He's awful. He needs to get replaced this offseason. I know we're going to have an super expensive backup quarterback at this point.
Well, now I know he's at 9.6 yards in terms of the receivers, in terms of the average. We're dead last in the NFL because of the average yards per catch. But, you know, Mobby, what you got on golf? And then I'm going to ask you guys another question. We'll switch over to Dan Campbell and the play caller.
Swing and a miss. It's golf worries me, man. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not on this. The whole season I haven't been on this bench Jared Goff bandwagon, because I think they made it virtually impossible to bench him, especially with the Boyle injury. I've seen what I've seen. I've seen everything I needed to see out of David Blau before the Pittsburgh game. So before the Pittsburgh game, I had seen what I needed to see out of Blau. He lost every game in 2019. He can't win a game in the preseason. I'm wondering why Brad Holmes didn't bring in something, an undrafted quarterback. We keep picking up Tamu and letting them go. They had Jordan. We had the one guy. There should have been somebody here, and I think they're doing it on purpose. I honestly think they don't want anybody there for us to champion because there's kind of been like a commitment to this man, and it all started with the restructuring, and they used the excuse, we wanted to sign our draft picks, but that's something you think about before you run up the dead cap money by cutting all the players that you did have on the team and putting yourself into that position anyway. So I think on this has nothing to do with Dan Campbell, but on Brad Holmes, and this scares me now. It really scares me now because you were their head scout. When they traded up 2 first-round picks to go get this guy, you were in that room. You were leading those meetings, and for you to trade Matthew Stafford for him, bring him over here, restructure his contract, make it so we can't get rid of him. Technically, we could, but we couldn't next year. It seems like he thought, hey, this guy I can do this with, and it's just then you give him Tyrell Williams and Brashad. I mean, it was a swing and a miss. Swing and a miss. It's a bad idea all around. Swing and a huge miss.
Yeah, I have to chime in on it because I was one of those defenders, and you can only defend so far. I played with 20 quarterbacks during my career, and I've had a chance to see those that came in from the backup position when a starter goes down to starters coming over from different places. And there's something about them that you can tell from day one as a player. Now, for us as fans, we have to, and those on the outside, we have to wait a little bit longer before we can figure that out. And I think many of us gave them the benefit of the doubt because we looked at the receiving unit and we said, okay, this is not up to snub. It's not really what we see as being as good as some of the other quarterbacks, I think, have. And so we said, okay, if he can just bring these guys along, we were willing to accept the check downs. We saw that he was hitting Hockenson. And as you mentioned, all right, TJ Hockenson, it was only a matter of time before teams started to really lock him down.
Game plan.
It's not hard to lock down a tight end with the safety or a linebacker or some type of a combo coverage or something like that because he takes too long to get into it. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so then when we started to see overthrows, we started to see just bad reads, and then you start to see underthrows and the balls are skipping before they get to the players, or just the it's just not there to just take control even of the offense itself and say, okay, we got to be able to boom, 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 hit it down the field. Yeah. And even if it's check downs, you got to be efficient with that. Right. And even now, if we throw one more receiver screen, I'm gonna just tell you like this, man. Right. I set myself on.
It hasn't worked a single time.
And they can't even develop the screen.
It's never worked.
It's like we keep calling this like a jailbreak. I'm tired of seeing them a jailbreak or a bubble screen that can't even develop. Like they need to get a little bit more creative. Like run some motion to one side and bring the jailbreak the screen back to the other side. It's like we can't even get creative with our screens. It's terrible.
So it gets to be bad, man. I agree. So it's I'm not going to defend it anymore. I mean, it was just some bad throws, bad reads. Just terrible. I don't see where this at this point will turn short of them bringing in and getting some relief at that position, and then also starting to get some breakouts at the receiver position, which is just not there. Right? You can keep looking for it. You can keep bringing guys in and out. It's not going to happen. You know what I mean?
It's not going to happen.
So having said that, let's talk play calling, fellas. All right. Again, I want to welcome everybody that's in. We see that we got a lot of people, man. We got D-Town Drizzy. We got Lions on the Prowl. Appreciate that. Mike K, Everything King. Appreciate you guys joining in again. If you get a chance, go over and subscribe. If this is your first time coming in, give us a like there, man, so we can keep doing this thing. But let's talk, fellas, about the play calling now. I'm going to give each of you a chance, and I want you, and we'll start first with you, Mobby. Tell me what you think of Coach Campbell, his play calling. I know he wanted to play a bigger role in calling the plays. I want to know how do you think he did? I want you to give me your
how do I think he did?
Your open attempt, your open thing, man. How do you think he did with the play calling for the first time?
I'll give him an A for effort, but he still failed. I'll give him an E for effort, but he still failed. I mean, I understand I gotta take it back because if y'all remember Anthony Lynn's so funny to me now because Anthony Lynn was giving his little press conference, right? And they were like, "Hey, so Dan Campbell's been wanting to say he wants to get more control of the offense." And Anthony Lynn got that big smile on his face. Yeah, it's his team. Yeah, it's kind of like, oh, he think he can do better. Oh, he think Jared Goff is gonna automatically turn into a good quarterback for him. Okay, yeah, it's his. So I thought that was funny. And then for when Dan Campbell to come out. And he just goes, all right, listen, it's raining, it's sleeting, it's snowing. I'm not passing the ball today. I'm just going to run it. I understood the idea. And when it started working, I understood why he stayed with it. I do have to say, though, Dan Campbell just still – I mean, I feel bad for the dude because he's trying. But it's like every step he take forward, he take two more backward. Like, you're doing a good job. But then I remember a specific situation in the game where we had just got a turnover, and y'all correct me if I'm not sure if that was right before the half or right after the half, right? We got a sudden change turnover. We're losing 14-0. It was Julian, I think. And 3rd and 12, and he calls a draw. I'm like, no, like, I understand. We just got a sudden change turnover. You're winless. You're on the road. You got a chance. You got momentum. Take a shot. And then the one time he did take a shot, Cleve Raymond wide open, underthrew him, but it wasn't a turnover. Why do we never take another shot again the rest of the game? Like, give him. I understand he sucks, but at least get a man a chance to get it right, correct it, overcompensate. But I just think on 3rd down, especially on 3rd and long, he left a lot to be desired. I mean, this is a dude that'll go for it on 4th down at our own 35-yard line.
Right.
But on 3rd and 12, you keep calling draws. Matter of fact, he did that. We went for it on 4th down at our own 35. 2-3 plays later, tucks his tail on 3rd down. Again, E for effort, but nah. 3rd down didn't do it for me.
The 3rd downs was getting you, huh?
3rd down didn't do it for me.
I think it was solid. I felt like we set in heavy way too much. I get the run game was working, but we was just in heavy a little too much. I get we ain't got that good of a receiving core, but at that point, they just gonna load the box. They know it's a run play. And if it is a pass, we got to cover one receiver, bracket or double TJ Hawkinson, and then worry about what's the other tight end? Brock, is it right? We got to worry about him. So it's like I felt like we should have got. I want to start seeing the bunch formation. Like let's get in bunch a little bit, get these little scat receivers running some quick choppy routes and pick routes and things like that. Mm-hmm. So as far as like play calling, I'm still not happy with it. I guess we was moving the ball a little bit, getting the run game going, but the passing game was terrible, and we still took we got a tie. So I'm gonna give him a C-. Dan Campbell C-, just because because Swift finally got over his 100 yards. He had 130, so I like that. We ran the ball, I believe, like 38 times.
His first time with more than 15 carries all year.
Right, and I like that. That showed that he can be a bell cow, and I've always thought he could be a bell cow, and I like to see that because Swift is a good running back. He's a future for us, but we should got out of heavy. We was in heavy. I felt like way too much, and I'm tired of seeing bubbles, screens, and jailbreak screens. They don't.
The heavy's when we most effective though. I with you on the bubble screens though.
We was. But it's like it come a point like you got to mix it up a little bit. Like you just becoming way too predictable, I feel like. And then when we get in shotgun, obviously they know we passing or we're running a draw. So it's like as a defensive player, like you just kind of already know like what's coming. Like you're already thinking pass before the quarterback says hike when we in shotgun. I'm tired of our screen game. We got to come up with a little bit better screens and get a little bit more creative with the play call, I feel like. So C- for his first game.
You know what? I'm gonna jump in, and we got an E, we got a C-. I'm gonna go ahead and give them an incomplete, and here's why. So when I look at this offense, one, I don't know what it is. You know, I don't. There's no style to it. There's no. Here's a lot of teams will come in. You know exactly who you're gonna get. You either know they're gonna be a spread. They're gonna go with 3 receivers. Mm-hmm. They're gonna go with 2 receivers, tight end, running back. You kind of know, and they don't care that you know because they're gonna come at you. And it's your job to try and figure out what they're doing to stop what they're doing because you know you can't stop their players. With this team, people know that they can dictate what this offense does. When they start to load them in the box, I started looking at Pittsburgh and they started to say, you know what? when the game got on the line, they need to put pressure. They could bring as many people up they wanted and go man because they just felt that, you know what, one, the eyes weren't going to be kept down the field to take the hit and just try and figure out if a guy was going to get open. They knew if we get pressure and we get anyone around, it was going to be, you know, scrambling, and it was going to be just, you know, eyes from down the field, and these guys aren't going to get open. The second part I saw is they became very predictable. And I know that was also listed inside of our chat that, you know, with Goff, it's really more about instead of even short passing game, is just long handoffs. It became predictable that they could run the ball, but you know what? They were running the ball effectively. It's just that they couldn't get the cadence down in terms of when to run on which down based on a situation. Sometimes it started to get where it was awkward when they were running the ball, when I understand they were trying not to be predictable on 3rd and long, but you could have avoided that when it was 2nd and short. Go ahead and run the ball versus throwing it, right? And getting a sack. Now you're in 3rd and long, or something else goes wrong. And sometimes the play calling itself put them in a bigger problem than it needed to be because it was being overthought. You know what I'm saying? And I get what they're trying to do. I won't say that there's a problem, but I don't know often when a head coach goes in, call me crazy, call me whatever, and this is just maybe I'm overstating the obvious, so call me Herman Obvious. But if the head coach says, you know what, I'm taking over play calling, you're telling me that I don't like what the other guy's doing.
Exactly. No, that's exactly what he did.
That's 100%. And the quarterback's not defending that position saying, hey, I think everything was cool with what we were doing if we tweak it here or there. He just flat out came and said, hey, I felt that everything was better than what it's been. So then –
we took the game out of his hands, though.
Right. I mean, so I start to look at this and go, there's a lot that's going on, obviously, behind the scenes that we don't know about. They may not like the fact that they have Goff. It may be the coach's decisions that's saying, you know what, we gave our thoughts, but we were overruled, and we got what we got, and we're trying to work with it. So you don't know really where to place the blame here, other than saying it's a hot mess, right? It's trying to figure out how do you get this back. I mean, these 3rd and long plays, you know, looking at, you know, do they focus more on the running game, or are they going to now keep trying to figure out how to fix this passing game? And then what message does this send to the team and the OC when the coach go, you know what, I can't just be a head coach. I got to now become the offensive coordinator too in this game. Especially I think we're missing up. So, I mean, that's kind of my take. So that's why I give them the incomplete, because there's just so much going on here that when you try and unpack it, it becomes more questions and concerns than you really get the answers. Because right now, man, it's a predictable offense. I know that's in the comments. I know that we don't get a lot downfield. So I mean, you know, there was also another emphasis that was put on the running game yesterday against Pittsburgh, and I don't know. We haven't seen this all season where the offensive line could be more of a factor. I know we talked about Taylor Decker and him just having a little bit of problem with what people were saying about them. I mean, how do you guys felt like the offensive line did? You know, they're 10th in the NFL in rushing at 4 yards per carry. They're 14th, tied for 14th with 8 touchdowns. They're 21st in the NFL with 222 rushing attempts. I mean, so they can run the ball, but I don't know if they've necessarily committed to it. But it seems like that's been
an issue.
The stronger part of this team.
Yeah.
You got him. You want to go, Mike?
No, you go ahead.
I feel like the offensive line played solid yesterday. Especially, you know, I mean, we put up over 200 yards rushing. So yeah, they got the job done as far as rushing, but pass protection, it still was some few issues. Taylor, I'm gonna touch on Taylor. Taylor Decker first game back was solid. He did have a couple penalties, but you could tell he was still comfortable. Like, he had a good kick slide. He was protecting that blind side. I'm gonna jump over to Sewell. Sewell looked good. He didn't give up no sacks, no pressures. Obviously, we know he can run block, but I was going to see him really get put on an island yesterday. He didn't get put on an island too much yesterday because we were sitting in heavy. We either had a tight end over there or we had Matt Nelson over there helping him out. Now, the one who I'm having issue with on that offensive line is Jonah Jackson. Like, coming into this year, I had high hopes from him. I thought he was going to take that next step because he had a solid rookie year. But he's getting beat up on pass protection. I understand he's going against Cam Hayward and things like that, but you got to start improving, bro. I feel like he's probably he's probably the worst link right now on that offensive line. Now that Matt Nelson then got, sent back to the bench where he belonged a long time ago. So offensive line's playing well. I think they played pretty solid, to answer the question.
Yeah, I agree with most. I think they're all playing pretty solid. I think they're all playing pretty solid, man. They have some rough patches, but I think inside what's his name? Evan Brown, he doesn't get talked about enough for how he stepped in for Frank Ragnow.
Right.
He's been solid. I think Jonah Jackson's been having a great year, honestly. Vitai's been struggling in pass pro a little bit, but he's been better in run blocking. I was hoping Evan Brown could maybe switch to that right guard position next year. We could get rid of that contract because Evan Brown has been super solid. But I think a lot of the issue is mainly it's a reason why why I think Dan Campbell wanted to switch over and do something with the play calling. Because, I mean, I feel like it's a bunch of times where we've been in 4th and short and we just didn't go heavy and try to pick it up. We went 5 wide and did some type of weird passing. So I do feel like there's been more opportunity for us to run the ball throughout the year. But Taylor Decker coming back yesterday was just huge. And the weather played a huge part. I think the weather played a huge part. As much as I want to believe like Dan Campbell was just like that much of an old school black and blue macho man football guy, I think Jared Goff in the rain with them little hands on the road, I think that had a lot to do with him running the ball.
Them little hands.
Yeah, he got the little Burger King hands. You remember that?
Somebody else was talking about his hands.
Little hands. Awful, man.
But I'll be interested to see us next week. Do we got Cleveland at home?
I think that's an away game. I believe.
Oh well, I'll be interested to see us out.
It's an L.
Not in that situation with the rain and stuff. It'll be interesting to see how you call it. But I definitely think with the sound success we were in today and how Philadelphia did us, I definitely think they'll put more of an emphasis on the run.
Yeah, I thought too that because of you brought up an interesting piece about the weather. I thought that because of that, that's why the O-line was more of a factor because of the weather. They put a little bit more emphasis on that. Don't think they were ever really thinking about coming out and passing. Obviously, no passes downfield. We talked about how the Lions, as far as rushing, I mean, they're not that bad at rushing. I think they can do better because of the fact that right now, I mean, with 4.4 yards per carry, that's a pretty good goal for them if they use it correctly. And I think if they build some of their play calling around the running game, I think it could potentially open up and free up the passing game a little bit until they start to really show that they got a commitment to that and then work really hard on this one-on-one. And like you said before, Rad, just really looking at the bunch and moving, getting some motion in and out of that bunch set, I think can create some confusion, especially with the smaller receivers. I mean, even though you got St. Brown, amon-ra St. Brown, that he's a smaller guy, but he's kind of a big small guy. It's kind of hard to explain. You know what I mean?
I get it. He played big.
Raymond, and you got these other guys, man, that's got some speed. They got some ability to get open. Then you get Hockenson inside of that package too and walk them away from that line of scrimmage. I think he creates some problems. You got to make certain commitments defensively on how you manage that bunch set versus having them all in tight and in those predictable pieces. Let's go real quick to the defensive side of the ball real quick. I know, I've talked to you already. We'll walk away from if there's any loyalty still left for Jared Goff at quarterback, and if it's time to make the switch. I think most people who have agreed, if we were to take a survey, that it's time to make a switch there. To whom? Who knows? But on the defensive side, this is a defensive unit that right now, when we start to look at the stats, the passing game against them, they've been thrown against the second least amount of times in the NFL, 272 times. People opt to run towards them most because they're 30th in the NFL in terms of the rushing yards against them. Teams seem to think that is where their vulnerability is, and that's going to come from their line. But for some reason, they don't throw as much. I mean, do you look at Aaron Glenn? Do you give him credit right now for getting this secondary that a lot of us, once you get your star guy going down, your high draft pick going down, your man-to-man cover guy going down early in preseason, and you're not going to have him for the season, all of a sudden, your team's not being thrown against that much when it seems like that would be the most vulnerable. I'll start with you, Mobby. Get your take on Aaron Glenn. I mean, you think he deserves the credit for the fact that this defensive unit is not being tested that much in the passing game?
They about to hate me, but nah. Listen, I like Aaron Glenn. I like everything he's doing with the defense. I do. And I feel like we need to attack this draft heavy and get him some real ball players, okay? But every week I'm pulling up the same different film, same play, same result, still the same blown coverages. There was a moment in time when we got scored on in this game. We had 4 guys guarding 1 guy, while the other guy was wide open in his zone. Mason Rudolph is so terrible, which is actually going to be my next point. He had a guy wide open in the end zone. He throws it at the dirt. So, I mean, every game we got guys running wide open. We've lost multiple games on the defense, giving up the huge 4th and 19, the 3rd and 22nd. But then that brings me back. So why? We played Jalen Hurts, who's not going to air it out on nobody. We played Mason Rudolph, who's not going to air it out on nobody. We played Justin Fields, who's not going to air it out on nobody. We haven't played other than Aaron Rodgers, who did what he wanted. We had Jimmy Garoppolo, we had Lamar Jackson, who had 3 drop touchdowns. I mean, it's just been easier from who we played, the style of the teams that we've been playing, for them to just run it down our throat. We haven't played the Patrick Mahomeses. We played A-Rod once, but I mean Kirk Cousins, like we ain't really played nobody that's gonna get out there and dog us for 450 yards through the air. But I like you, Aaron Glenn. Don't take it the wrong way. But I feel like you gotta get us some talent though.
I'm a piggyback off Mobby. Yeah, we do need to hit the draft in the offseason, getting some talent over there. But I think Aaron Glenn has done a solid job. And I think Aubrey Pleasant has done a solid job to be out here with a bunch of undrafted free agent corners. They playing at a solid level. I mean, I think they're playing up a little bit. And now teams are running on us a lot because we sitting the majority of 2 high safeties at that point. You know, when you got 7 men in the box, you're going to obviously run the ball as opposed to with sitting with 8 men in the box. So I think that's why we get ran on a lot more. And to Mobby's point, we really ain't played a quarterback that'll just, you know, they rely heavily on that quarterback's arm where they can just shred us. But I think the play calling's solid. Now, when we giving up these long 4th downs that lost us a couple games, I feel like we should have dialed up a blitz as opposed to sitting back and only sending 2. If it's 3rd and 15, I'm bringing it because I want you to get rid of the ball fast. I'm not about to let you sit back and let somebody get open. That's where it gets frustrating for me when it's the 3rd and longs and the 4th and longs. We drop everybody instead of making the quarterback make a quick decision. If he does complete it, everybody rally and make the tackle. That's where I'm frustrated. But as far as like the talent, we don't have that much talent, and I feel like they are playing up. We did a solid job, I feel like, bottling up Najee yesterday. I know he had over 100, but it wasn't like the prettiest 100, if that makes any sense. Like, it ain't like he was just really out there just gashing us. D-line's playing solid. I think we need to get a little bit more rush. We need to get after the quarterback a little bit more. But as far as like holding in the trenches when it comes to stopping the run, they do a solid job. Linebacker play is solid here and there. But I like how the undrafted rookie corners have like stepped up. And Tracy Walker, I feel like, is having a good year. So Aaron Glenn, he's doing okay.
Do you think there's leadership though for both of you? Do you think there's leadership? There's enough of a talented leader on the defensive side of the ball, whether it be among the defensive line? I don't think right now it's in the linebacking core. And right now I think it's too kind of spread in the secondary. Where do you find the on-field leadership? You know, we talk about a Cam Hayward, or you talk about, these guys, Joe Hayden, he was out, but you know that you still got, also you got Watt. Got guys that can kind of turn up, and you can get them to come in, and it's going to just be that one that brings the heat, right?
Yeah.
Do they have that, or is it going to be Aaron Glenn having to be cheerleader from the sideline, and then also at a boy when you come off of it, and can they self-discipline, and can they
get that,
motivate? Do you see any guy out there that you say has the ability to step up and take that mantle? No,
I mean, we don't have enough. Not even big name players. I mean, Brockers is probably the only big name player on the defense, and I think he's been playing solid football. But nobody in that secondary is really, taking over that role. Our linebacker core can't really. Nobody's gonna buy into anybody on that field on that back 11, just because they don't really have names yet, and ain't nobody really making plays like that to where they just. Every week, we can count on Julian to get us a sack or two a game, so where he could like kind of step into that leadership role. No, nobody's there yet, And then if anybody, it's probably Brockers. He's the only one that's somewhat got a name. And then after that, what is it? Double A, Alex Anzalone. He got a. I don't even really think he got a name, to be honest. He cool, but nah. On that defense, ain't nobody stepping up to be that leader yet. No,
there's no enforcer on this entire team
at all.
Let alone, there's definitely no enforcer on this defense. There isn't. If you ask me, there isn't, outside of maybe a contract thing here or there, there isn't a single person on this defense that can't be replaced.
Right. I would agree with that. Trey Flowers should be the leader as much as he getting paid.
Trey Flowers should be
the way they pumped him up.
Flowers, you know, they already got enough money they got out there, man. It's not
the way they pumped him up, and he's one who needs to be cut the start of the new year or traded. We need to trade him like us right back to New England the start of the new year. As much as he getting paid, he should be the leader and showing up, popping up on film. He's good at setting the edge against run, but I need you to do more than that for $18 million a year, bro.
There's no guy.
My bad, Mobby. Go ahead, bro.
No, you right. I'm with you.
I get the ranting like, man, look.
I know we got a couple. We got Q was saying that Godwin and Jefferson are up and coming. Good offensive lineman, decent cornerback, beast at safety. Iffy, you know, any thoughts on those three?
Godwin, Jefferson, good bottom of the roster guys. Jefferson, hopefully he's okay. I would like to see more from him.
Right.
Neither one of them are guys on a playoff caliber team. Like, if you're talking about a team that's expected to win the North, those are ever going to be two guys we're talking about. O-line, decent for sure. Iffy, hope for the best. Would like to see him come back. Need to see more than a couple of snaps that we got out of him. But at this point, there's no guy there. There's no guy.
Yeah, I don't see it anywhere there. I mean, I know we're coming up on the end of the show. I wanted to get your takes, give each of you, and Mobby, we'll start with you and I'll end with Rat, is be able to just give me your thoughts, man, coming into this game against Cleveland. Any thoughts and expectations there, and then your final take on anything you want to say about the Lions.
Going into Cleveland, going into Cleveland, I don't really got too much as far as the expectation side. Tough defense we got to go up against. I'm in it for the soap operas. I'm in it for the dramas now. It's like, what's going on with our head coach, our OC? Like, who's going to do that? Are we going to bench Goff? I'm in it for all the storylines, everything outside of football. What we got on the field, it's a horror show right now, and I just want to see how this all plays out for the end of it. As far as my take on the Lions as a whole, man, I can't believe I'm gonna say this because I thought it was virtually. I mean, if we can eat $50 million in cap this year, if we can eat $50 million this year, we can eat $30 million for Goff next year. I don't see how you bring them back, and I definitely don't see how you bring Lynn and Goff back. I don't see how Dan Campbell loses the next 4 games calling plays and then goes to Anthony Lynn like, all right, you was right. You can get your play calling back. Like, I don't know. All this is going to be crazy for the rest of the year.
Yeah, it's going to be some drama.
Going into Cleveland, I hope I hate to say it, I don't wish injury on nobody because they're not going to bench the guy because they don't want to hurt his confidence. But
man,
I hope somebody just tweaked their ankle. I don't wish no major injury. I hope somebody tweaked their ankle. I ain't going to say no names or nothing, but maybe we can see somebody else behind the center. Come out and play hard. I mean, we're probably going to take the L. Like, at this point, I don't really see us getting a win probably until we play Green Bay. And they throw us probably a gimme. Just come on, play hard. Hope somebody tweak their ankle. And yeah, man, I don't know. It's just, it's rough. I'm not saying no names, because I don't wish evil on nobody. But just, miss a couple quarters. Just miss the rest of the game. First drive, you come out, tweak that ankle. Boom, we get somebody else in. He may shine. You never know. But that's tough.
He's tough, man. His hand was hurt, man. He stayed in.
He got hurt this game. They ain't take him out. I'm like, he had every opportunity.
Nah, just a little high ankle. A high ankle sprain to sit you down.
Oh, that's real serious.
I didn't want to say like an ACL or nothing. Just a high ankle. That'll get you out a few weeks. High ankle.
Yeah, I say, man, I think it's going to be tough. I think if anyone who was watching the last few games knows that pressure is everything for this offense, right? If you got a defense that can put pressure, if you can start loading some people in the box, and you got a halfway decent secondary that can just hold the fort just for a sec, it's going to be problems for this offense. And the running game, teams are going to start doing containment. They're going to force everything inside. They're going to bring people down, and they're going to start locking up a lot of those gaps, right? And so when they do that, you're going to be forced to have to win the battle in the passing game. And the quarterback's got to be the one to get it done. And if the quarterback isn't having the confidence, the accuracy, the instincts to be able to do that, this is going to go real bad in the second half, because if you look at the teams they're facing, they're bringing defenses with them. They're bringing people who have tractor beams, man, and they, they're looking to get to the quarterbacks, and they put them in predictable situations. So we'll see how this all plays out, man. I really appreciate you, Mobby, and Rad, for coming on. I want you guys, before we sign off, let everybody know, which most everybody on here know you guys already, because y'all got that fame like that. Just let them know where they can find you, and then I'll wrap the show, fellas. I appreciate you being on.
No problem. Again, I'm everything. There goes Mobby, Lions Cam, Lions Nation Unite. There goes Mobby on all platforms. Liddy Mob, what's going on?
You can catch me at Last Second Sports tonight. I'll be doing Last Second Dose with Dose of Dion 2.0. What is it? 9:30 Eastern, 6:30 Pacific. Out here on the West Coast, the best coast, y'all know. But I'm gonna stay repping my Detroit Lions. Win, loss, or tie, it don't matter. I got love for us. But yeah, that's my handle on all your socials. And Herm, H-Man, I appreciate you having me on, man. I really do.
Yeah, absolutely. And I appreciate
nice rapping with you too, Mobby.
Yeah, man. Cool.
Yeah, and I appreciate you guys being on, man, and continue to be a part of supporting the nation. And again, I want to remind everybody, just hit their like button, subscribe to our channel. We have a lot planned. We don't want you to miss out on that. And then two, don't forget, we're gonna start dropping some of this swag. Hey, I know, Mobby, Brad, and all my contributors, man. If you guys got some ideas, again, we are a print shop. We're looking for some ideas. We'll print them up. We'll put them out there, and we what?
We might need to get the gospel going.
What we'll do is we'll come up with whatever shirt you guys want, as long as they, don't stretch the line too bad. We can make fun of things. We can do whatever. And then we can tie that to some charity, man, and do something good for all that stuff that we do. But that's what we're here for, man. And I appreciate everybody for joining in. Appreciate you both for joining, man, today and being a part of this. And I'll see you guys next time. And don't forget, man, to invite me out when you guys are doing your shows. I'd love to join and get on. And maybe I'll bring me some yak. This is just coffee, by the way, but I'll get on and have my scissor. So we'll be all good.
Hey.
It's a party on Liddy Mob. Pull up. Pull up.
All right. I appreciate you. See you guys, everybody. See you next time.
Alrighty.
Night, y'all.